Hello. It is 5:41 and man, I am struggling today. um I guess I should probably mention the few things I did that I was happy I did. They're really small, but it's kind of like it cracks open the door where it's like, yeah, like this isn't well, okay, let me basically um I ended up making some of the eggs that I used to make when I was younger, and I kind of realize I stopped cooking when like really cooking. Um, I stopped like making real dishes when basically I stopped kind of having family dinners with my mom and my grandfather. And I didn't even really realize that that was a thing where it was like, it was almost like cooking reminds me of the happy times that I kind of had with them. And yeah, I didn't expect to, like, I'm bringing this up now, but it's like it was percolating most of the day after I cooked, where I was like, I wasn't really sure why I was having such a hard time cooking for a while. And then it dawned on me. It's like, yeah, um, I used to these eggs specifically were like one of those things where um, I used to make these because I don't know, like I made like really fluffy eggs that had a very specific way I make them, and they taste really good. It's really simple. I mean, I do scrambled eggs, but the way I do them, I kind of do lower temperature so they cook a little bit longer, and then I put like a little dash of like oil or something in the pan, obviously, for them to not stick. And there's this like moment, which again is not super like challenging to do, but you know, there's like a moment when I can tell that the eggs are starting to like go from that liquid to little pieces are cooking. If you use the like wooden spatula to push everything to the one side, you'll get little pieces that get like cooked on the surface. And it's like, okay, the eggs are just at that perfect, like starting to really like cook, where I'll like spread the eggs out and then do like sprinkle some shredded cheese, and then I'll mix the shredded cheese in, and then as the eggs continue cooking, um instead of becoming uh like normal scrambled eggs that I see people cook, even like restaurants, they tend to overcook the eggs a little bit, at least to my liking, where the eggs are basically like these like thick plates of just egg. Um and so I like kind of going a step back where it's not they're fully cooked, but because I did the cheese in that way, they have this fluffy kind of almost gooey texture where the eggs are fully cooked, but they're not, because of the cheese binding to the eggs in a certain way. It like totally changes the way that the eggs feel and taste. So I made those, and I was like, yeah, this is really tasty, and I don't know why I haven't been making this. It's really simple, and it's, 2 eggs and, a dash of cheese. You don't put too much cheese in there. You can if you really want to, but like then you're just eating cheese with the side of eggs instead of like something a little more balanced. But um yeah, so I kind of reminisced about that, and then I then chopped up. I bought a pineapple the day before, um, and I ended up cutting it up. I can actually show you guys. I mean, I just simply cut up a pineapple, but I'm like proud. Well, I don't have to show it to you. You know what a cut up pineapple looks like, but it is so good. By the way, this pineapple is delicious. But yeah, I got a bowl, and it's just all pineapple, and yeah, so I did like 2 cooking esque things, even though the second was just chopping pineapple. It wasn't really cooking; it was preparing. But in both those scenarios, it's like I just wouldn't do those things, not because I can't do them, but I realized it was almost like a subconscious like, well, am I allowed to do that because family's not there, and this is like reserved for the family. And I was like, oh shit, like I didn't even realize I was doing that. So yeah. Um, so I did that. Taking a shower here sucks for a weird reason. It's not even about how small the space is, although that is a little annoying, but it's like I'm so glad that it's not curtains. So it's like it's so much better. The problem is, number one, I can't figure out how to get the main shower head to work. So I'm using the side wand instead, which in and of itself, it's like, okay, it's not really a big deal. But the problem is, uh, the I haven't been able to figure out how to not burn myself during the shower, because it's a standard like nozzle for turning on the faucet. I mean, turning on the water. And if I go too far to the left, it's still cold for like 3 minutes, but it slowly warms up. And what ends up happening is I think there's like this massive lag between when like a several minute lag between when I pick a temperature and when the temperature actually shows up, because I'm so high up, I think. I've never experienced this before, and so I don't know if this is like all buildings that have lots of floors have this problem, or if it's just like poor pipe management, or I don't know. I don't know what the problem is. But what will happen is I'll get these pumps where you get cold water and then boiling water next to each other. And so what ends up happening is you get these bursts of hot water and then bursts of cold water. And I think it's supposed to mix to give like the perfect temperature water, but it doesn't mix. And so you get cold and then boiling, cold, boiling over and over and over again. And so if I move the temperature farther to the right, it'll get colder, but it'll still be boiling. And I'm like, I don't get it. Why does this happen? Because in the first part of the shower, it's like totally fine, but it's like the reserve of lukewarm water runs dry, and then I'm just getting hit with superheated water and cold water in succession. And so it's like, I don't know if I should like ask if there's a thing that they can do for this. This seems like a fundamental problem of the building. Um, so I don't know. I'm not really sure on that. And my other problem is the like back pain that I've just constantly been in for the past like 4 days or 3 days. Um, there's like the upper neck on this side where when I do like this, there's this like one area that feels like it's like tweaked weird and still sore. Yeah, I can feel it. And I don't know like why that specifically is having an issue. I think it's just still healing from the fucked up like way I slept one night. But the problem is, oh man, yeah, like me massaging it, like I could feel like tingling going through my arm. So there's definitely like something fucked there that like I'm trying to work out. But overall, it's gotten like way better. So I can like move like here there's pain. Like if I look down it's fine, but if I it's like there's like certain parts like up here and it's that same area where it's like getting pinched or there's something fucked there. Um so anyway, and if that was the only thing, it'd be like fine. Like that's annoying, but it's healing. But my bottom like right side on my like shoulder blade is in a lot of pain now. And I'm like, what is happening to my like back? Uh I don't know. It's like kind of crazy. Um and it's like I can't tell if it's the bed because I sleep like I was normally sleeping before. And yeah, like flip a bunch, but like in the old bed it was fine. In this bed it's like I don't know, there's like some weird deceptively like there's something going on with this bed, I think. I'm not sure. But like so I'm looking behind me at the sofa and I'm like, what if I just take these two cushions and throw it on the bed and sleep on top of the cushions? Might be worth it. I'll try it and see. Because I only got like 6.5 or 7 hours. And so it's like I'm just getting chipped away by this like sleep thing. And it's really hard once I wake up at that time to fall back asleep. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just saw it. Oh, by the way, I've been seeing literally like today I saw, and I just to be clear, I do not look for like angel numbers. I just notice them when I see them, but I don't like look at the clock a bunch. Um, but what ended up happening was I saw 1111, then I saw 222, Then I saw 333. I just saw 555. Like, like I'm like, okay. Um, but anyway, so yeah, so I'm kind of like it's weird. Like I feel so there was today there was a tarot reading that someone did that talked about this exact thing where it's like your body is catching up to kind of your situation because it's like I can see it, how do I describe it? It's like I can see how fast paced and intense the next kind of part of things are going to be. And it feels like my body's like, you need to rest now. Like, I don't care if you think you've rested enough, you haven't. You need to keep letting your body just rest because you're not going to have time later to rest. Or maybe you'll have time, but it's like you need to rest now. And the reading that I randomly watched, it was the first reading I watched today, and there was two other readings I watched, but like they did, they kind of didn't like fit, so I kind of don't even remember what they were about. But this one specifically was like, I was like, yeah, this fits the situation that I'm kind of currently in. Um, where it's like it's almost like I'm living in the future. What I mean by that is the present is stuck. I say stuck. It's not really stuck, but it's kind of like it's really easy for me to it's easy for me to put like blocks towards this next part where I'm like there isn't really any blocks, but it's like if I'm not present in the moment, it delays things. And so I understand that I'm supposed to be present in the moment. Uh, Being present in this moment, there's like the back pain and the neck thing, and it's like, geez, can the body just like heal already so that then I can like continue functioning? Um, so yeah, it's kind of like just sitting here is like I there's always like this little twinge that's either it's either the side slash it's either the one side or the other, and I'm like, oh my god, can like I just like be comfortable and like pain free for a little bit? Like it's really frustrating. um and I don't think it's at the point where I should like get some sort of pain relieving like over the counter stuff. um Maybe if in another couple days it's still like this, then I'm like, okay, like it's really starting to impinge on like me doing anything. But also it's kind of like I feel like my body is like, you need to stop. It's like just chill the fuck out. Focus on like the food, chill the fuck out. And yeah, but like there's this kind of like unsatisfying kind of craving that I'm having where it's like I foresee and I see this like um future me already stepped past, and I'm like totally immersed in this new like rapid acceleration. And then there's the current me, which is like accelerating towards the acceleration, if that makes sense. And it's like I have this little window where um, where my body is like catching up and resting, and then my mind is like unpacking anything that's like remaining that is like last minute like things that I might want to unpack. Um, and really kind of like scouring the depths of like it's like, all right, is there anything left that we need to like last minute scour? Uh because you're going to be a busy beaver for a while. And it's not that I won't have time at all to do things. I think I'll still have like a flow, but more it'll be so quick in the shift that it's like all right, now you're there. um Also, I'm not going to mention it, but there was some things that uh were talked about as like warnings in that message that I'm like, okay, I need to like pay attention to that and kind of see what happens. So if I don't immediately talk about things that may have happened or whatever, um, they'll eventually be like talked about. But I think there's like a delicate first stage of whatever that I think I'm going to need to like kind of let organically happen while I'm like not really bringing it up. Um, so, and I think it'll be pretty obvious when it does happen. But I think, yeah. So I'm just kind of doing a forewarning here of like I'm not like trying to keep things from you guys. But I'm kind of getting this like I don't think in the grand scheme of things, if I talked about things that show up in the upcoming kind of beginning phase, I don't think it would be a big deal. I just think that the level of um, hatred and jealousy would kind of rise quicker, because I know eventually I'm going to have to deal with all that. Like I'm well aware that there are people that pay attention to what I'm doing, that think I didn't earn anything that I have kind of accomplished, and think I'm undeserving, and kind of just hate me, or are like incredibly envious. And I mean that's okay. Like it doesn't bother me. But like they're just hurting themselves by doing that. I think it's possible that maybe one or two of them may even have found the channel and are watching. I don't really know, but like I've definitely felt um, a lot of negative energy trying to be like sent my way from people. And I kind of just cut that off at the pass. I'm like, no, I'm not interested in the negative energy. I don't care if you are jealous or frustrated or angry or whatever. You just need to go live your life, because you focusing on things that I'm doing is just kind of hurting yourself. And you're going to look back and you're going to be like, man, I obsessed over this person for no reason. Like, it didn't help me at all. It just made me bitter. So, this is my kind suggestion to anyone who is in that position, who may be watching this video, that your negative presence is a small grain of sand relative to the things that I've dealt with in the past, and you will not change what is going to happen with me or my life. So, I mean, the only one you're hurting is yourself. So, I'm just kind of forewarning you that if you continue down this path, I will be fine and I will be enjoying my life. However, you will continue to be miserable because you're not focused on your life. You're focused on someone else's life. So, and that goes for anyone. Like, I'm not just talking about people who are feeling that way towards me. I'm aware that there are lots of people out there who hate watch, who like get really obsessed with certain people and feel jealousy or hatred towards other people. And it's like, I understand that. That's just part of like being the more people that kind of see you, the more kind of anger-ridden people who feel, quite frankly, they feel they are the ones who actually feel entitled, and they are the ones who feel like it should be them living whatever life. And it's like, it could be you, but you're not doing all the work that it takes to get to that part. Like, bro, I do not wish for anyone to go through the kind of soul wrenching emotional pain that I've gone through in order to be who I am. I don't talk about it that often. I mention it briefly. I did a little thing about the past, but like I mean, I have a very high level of like endurance when it comes to like mental anguish. And quite frankly, I'm just going to say it, I don't think most people would have been able to be here. I just don't think they would be able to handle it. And I'm not trying to like jerk myself off to make myself feel good. It's not what this is about. It's about like, I deserve to experience this. And the people who are jealous, quite frankly, you don't, because you haven't done the work. You're not me. You haven't gone through my experiences to get to where I'm at. Sorry. You can. It's a hard journey. Takes a lot of internal work to get there. Will you? I don't know. I hope. I hope that, maybe this video you see it and you're like, yeah, why the fuck am I doing this? Like, maybe I should work on myself. That's what I hope happens. I don't want to see anyone just kind of sulking and stewing for no reason. But, just as there are many people who get stuck in this loop of like, the guy who's goes to the bar for 30 years and is drinking their sorrows away. Like, I don't blame him. He or she is probably going through some really tough emotional trauma or pain, anguish. It's like my heart goes out to him, her, whoever it is. But when you try to kind of help that person, it's like you can't do anything for them. They have to get out themselves. And so it's the same thing here, where it's like some people get really sad because there's this internal stuff going on, and they're like, so they go to like substances or different addictions and kind of numb themselves. And then other people who are in a similar situation where maybe their life isn't turning out the way they wanted, they turn to hate watching or saying that it's someone else's fault, or saying, oh, like this person doesn't deserve to be there. If I was there, I would do so much better. I would do so many cool things. And it's like, it's just as it's my heart goes out to them too, because it's just as tough and loop inducing as the other people. It just manifests in a different way. So I don't know. It's kind of like I was reading this novel that has a main protagonist who kind of does this like cultivation. It's a cultivation novel, but he has like this looping ability where every time he dies, he gets points, and then he can come back with like better talents and better starting positions and all of that stuff. And in cultivation novels, one of the most beautiful things about these novels is how they depict this very specific state of existence. And it's people use the term like frog at the bottom of the well or other things like that. But it's this idea that someone thinks they know everything, and they are so sure of themselves that they live a very narrow, specific path. And they point and they say, it's this person's fault, it's that person's fault, or whatever it is. And they don't see that they're looking at the surface of things, and they don't see the depth because they've never explored their own depth. So how can they recognize others' depth if they haven't even seen their own depth? It's impossible for them to see it. So they'll keep pointing their fingers, they'll keep blaming, they'll keep being negative. And it's like we all have the ability to go deep within in order to change our external world. Most people just don't. And it's far easier to point the finger. This person doesn't deserve it. Why? Why don't they deserve it? Well, look at them. Yeah, what do you mean, look at them? Well, they don't look really good, or uh, they don't have a really good job, or they weren't born to a certain wealthy family or whatever. There's all sorts of reasons, right? Um, and it's like that's surface stuff. You're pointing out things that are so surface. This is why you're stuck where you're at, because you're just looking at the surface. And it's sad. It's just sad. And my heart goes out to everyone who's kind of stuck there, because they don't even think about the idea of looking below the surface. You think about the sea, the vast oceans. Imagine if everyone acted like they do, where they only look at the surface of the ocean. They don't bother with looking at anything under the surface. There are things that live in very deep water only. And so if you don't look below the surface, you can't even see these things, because they're so deep that their habitat is in the trenches, in the very bottom, like floor of the ocean. And so if you can't even put your head in the water to just notice that there's stuff down there, like, it's going to be impossible for you to see these things. And that's kind of where, like, I'm at, and where other people are at, where it's like, yeah, like, you can't see me. Like, sorry, like, you see the surface and you think, there's nothing in the water. I don't see anything in the water. Yeah, you don't see anything in the surface. Um, and so it's kind of, in the past, and this took me a while to kind of, in my like earlier years, to kind of like understand and kind of get over. Um, these people who are looking at the surface and are not interested in putting their head in the water to look. They're not interested in hearing the accomplishments or the things that they've kind of overlooked. Because to them, if everything is just a surface level thing, they can only recognize things on the surface. So occasionally, a whale might come to the surface and get some air and then dive back down, and they're like, whoa, there's a whale. And they see it momentarily and it blinks out, and they're like, did I see that whale? And the whale lives like in deeper waters, but occasionally comes up for air. And so it's kind of like, those are the only times when the person on that's looking at surface level stuff can maybe glimpse at some of the things. But even then, it's kind of like there isn't really a comprehension there of like what truly is going on with the whale. It's just like a recognition that there's some sort of thing there. um, and so this is where it's kind of like, in the past, I might have reacted when I was in my earlier 20s. I might have reacted really poorly to different forms of negative thoughts or opinions that people kind of were thrusting onto me, because it's like I didn't understand. It was like inconceivable to me at the time how someone could be so shallow. But I was just thinking of like Shallow Hal, the movie where it was like, you know, um, that movie is like a perfect example of like depth versus shallowness, the difference. And it's like that, but like that's like the first layer is like you put your head in the water and you realize people have personalities. It's like congratulations, like now you can see that there's something inside and it's not just an external thing. But in the past it's like, yeah, I used to like get really annoyed at like, it's like, how do they not see? And it's like I took for granted the fact that I can just see most people, like I can see all of them. It takes me like, sometimes it takes me a couple weeks to like dial in on a person depending on where they're at, but like I can recognize where people are at in their kind of journey of the self. And it doesn't mean that they're worse or better for being at a certain level of depth, but it's kind of like, it's like, oh, like I recognize they just can't even see. It's like they're blind. You don't get mad at a blind person for not being able to see. You try and help the blind person. And if the blind person doesn't want help, you're like, okay, well, I'm praying for this person. I hope that they like are okay. And, you know, sorry, I thought there was like a bird or something. It was just a plant. But, the point is, you would never get mad at the blind person for being blind. And it was that realization for me that it's like, I understand. It's not that they can't like do better. It's that they've willingly become blind because they can't face themselves. That's really what it is. Because it's hard to face yourself. It's hard to actually be accountable. We talk about accountability like in society. Why can't people take accountability? It's because they can't. Some people are just, they struggle to acknowledge that they're not a perfect being, that there are things that they should be working on, that they can be better, that they can and should do better. Because the moment that they do that, that outer shell kind of cracks open, and then they have to face themselves. Being an asshole and like being selfish, like, yeah, like you probably shouldn't have been selfish in whatever the thing was, but it's okay that like it happened. Like, you just got to make sure not to do it next time. And that's where it's like the people who continuously are surface level, they just continuously sit there and make the same mistakes because they've put the blinders on. They've willingly accepted that they won't want to dive in the water. And that's their choice. So I'm not going to get mad at someone projecting their insecurities because that's what they're doing. They're trying to take the insecurities they have and point to someone else and say it's actually them. It's okay. I can be a fucking villain. I've been a villain my whole life. Like, yeah, no problem. Uh so it's like, sure. And what I mean by being a villain is like I've allowed myself to be labeled the villain. I don't think I'm a villain. But I know some people need a villain because without a villain, they struggle to exist. And so it doesn't matter to me because, like, why do I care what struggles they're going through? Because it's like, okay, yeah, I can't help you. You have to figure it out. And whatever negativity you're kind of projecting, all it does is just show the insecurities that you have inside that you're not willing to kind of face. And it makes me sad that there's so many people out there like that. I think there's a lot less than there was maybe like 15, 20 years ago. Because I think a lot of people are kind of waking up. But doesn't mean that there aren't people out there like that. And so, it's like, I think back to like the incident with the roommate where the roommate was like angry at himself and screamed, and it was like such a visceral scream. Um and it was directed at me, but it really was he was screaming about himself. And I just remember how utterly unfazed I was, and I was just looking at him, and he was expecting me to like react in some way, and I just looked at him like, "All right, you did the scream, now what?" And it's like, um, you know, it's like I'm not mad at that. Like that's just I can see the anguish. That's why it's like I can't get mad at someone who is like it's almost like a cry for help. That's the way I see it. Where it's like someone is like angry that they don't have the fortitude, the mental capacity, the iron will to shatter the illusions that they've intentionally put on themselves and just started looking at themselves. You got to start somewhere. And if you don't start somewhere, you just continue living in the illusion. So, so that's where it's like I've seen so many people throughout my life direct hatred or anguish or frustration, all of these things. I've seen them directed at me, I've seen them directed at other people, and it's like, I understand that it's like they don't know what to really do with it because they don't do the one thing that will actually help them. And everyone internally knows what it is that they need to be doing. But, it takes courage. Most people don't have the courage. It is changing, like I said. I think a lot more people do have courage now, but so yeah, so it's like I'm okay with people thinking I'm a villain or thinking I don't deserve it or whatever. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't even reach me. I have like my the level of security I have in myself when it comes to like I know what I've been through. And so, you know, like I don't know, it's I have so much protection. Both my own protection and my own kind of like unshakable resolve, but also like dude, my spirit team is fucking brutal. Like I I jokingly talked to I was talking to the previous roommate that is now just my buddy, and he we were talking about the scam guys, and I mentioned how it's like, and I don't mean to laugh at this because it's like it truly doesn't bring me joy to know this, but like seriously, I'm pretty sure those like that, at least that one scam person is going to seriously have some like fucked up like reckoning happen, because my spirit team just doesn't fuck around. It's like I've literally seen people like get absolutely fucking destroyed by themselves, and it's like I don't do anything. I'm just like I'm living my life, and it's like I'm aware that like it's like I have a fucking Men in Black team like all around me at all times, where they're like, this energy's fucked and you can go fuck yourself, and then they like take the energy and like go out back and like put it somewhere. It's like, nope, you're in timeout, get the fuck out of here. And so knowing that, it's like it's almost like comical to me at how like the very rare time that someone like does something like the scam person, it's like bro, do you even know what you just did to yourself? Like I'm really sorry. Like I feel bad, like genuinely, like I wish I wouldn't have walked over there, not because of me, but because I know that that guy's like fucked now in some way. So it's like, and this is not like a oh look at me. It's like I've just seen it happen. It's just like me like observing this happen, and it's like that fucking sucks. And I'm grateful. Just to be clear, I'm grateful that I have this protection. But it also just like it's like fuck, man. Um, so so I told the friend, I was like, I do not envy that guy. Like my spirit team's like probably really mad. I don't know exactly what's gonna happen, but like I do not envy him. And he just looked at me like a bit confused. He's like, "Oh, okay." And I tried to explain it a little bit, but it's just like unless you've like experienced it firsthand, you don't really understand um the sheer like just it's just, I don't know. It's like I've it's kind of like I don't know if any one of you has seen the what's it called? Oh wow, the wind is kind of crazy. It was raining really hard earlier. I wanted to show you guys, but then it suddenly stopped raining, and I was like, okay. Like, it literally stopped raining within like 2 minutes of me like getting the camera out. So, um, but oh yeah, wind is getting crazy. Next couple days are going to be kind of like rainy and cloudy, but it's like cooler, which is cool. But anyway, so I don't know if you guys have seen. There's a guy that like does this fake um like janitor routine in a gym, and he's carrying these really heavy weights within his like mop and his like uh all of his like equipment. um and he like walks over and casually like lifts up like weight that other people would struggle to lift, and then like cleans under it and then puts it back down, and it's like you see people like it's really funny. But um it's like imagining that guy literally just minding his own business, and then someone coming up and harassing him and saying, "Oh yeah, I bet you can't even lift a pair of 20s." You know, and then he's like, it's like the like it's like the bafflement that that guy would experience. It's like do you even know like what you're saying? Like, why are you kind of doing the surface level thing? Because he dresses in a way that makes it look like he has no muscles and he's very like weak. And that's the whole intentional, that's the thing. It's similar to like the, you know, the billionaire who dresses like a homeless guy and then gets in a fucking car after someone treated him like shit. And then he gets in this like really nice car and then drives off. And it's like, it's this kind of stuff where to the people who are like surface level, this like is totally baffling and it can totally fool them. It's like, oh, I gotta treat all homeless guys nice now because maybe there's a rich guy there. It's like you don't even get the point. The point is not about some rich guy being the thing or some strong guy being the janitor. That's not even what it's about. It's about understanding that you should be treating people regardless of any surface level stuff with respect, with kindness. You shouldn't be jealous because, you know, I mean, like, what does it actually do for you? It doesn't do anything for you. And your comparison to someone else is, again, just like it's a way for you to feel better about the fact that you're not really doing anything with yourself internally. So you compare with someone else who's in a lower point in some sort of physical capacity as a means to be like, well, at least I'm not that guy. And it's such a hollow way of kind of living. Um, but anyway, so this is where it's like bringing up these comparisons. In the past, I wouldn't have brought them up, and I wouldn't have kind of talked about this kind of stuff, mainly because in the past I would be worried that people would misunderstand what I'm saying. Say that I'm bragging or that I'm being arrogant or mean or rude or whatever. Now it's kind of like if you misunderstand me, you misunderstand me. I don't really have time to worry about your misunderstandings. I don't have time to worry about your misunderstandings. Um, and quite frankly, if you are willingly just looking at the surface, my channel's probably not going to help you, because my channel is all about like showcasing and working on like the internals. And if you only look at the surface level stuff, and this is kind of one of the struggles that I was having with um, that first uh, life coach. She didn't see me at all. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's kind of like when you only see the surface, it becomes incredibly easy to miss a lot of deeper work that's been done. And so you look, and maybe the surface level, things didn't really change much. But internally and on deep levels, massive shifts have changed. So on the surface, everything looks the same. So you go, well, like one of the my favorite things to think about is, well, if you're so enlightened and you're so like knowledgeable, why are you still overweight? Shouldn't that be easy for you? Yeah, it is easy for me. I have done it. I've literally done it before, multiple times in my life. Um, the thing is, it's not about the weight. It's about what the weight represents rather than the weight itself. And this is where, on a surface level, it's like, well, it was so funny that the life coach literally said this to me, and it was like, I knew immediately when this life coach said that, well, look at you, you're still overweight. Like, of course you're delusional, because you haven't solved your weight issue. And it's like, oh no, like I just felt bad, because it's like, you just don't understand. um so yeah. uh and I know that it probably pisses people off when I say you just don't understand. uh and it's like, yeah, I get it. I get why you're upset, but I'm not calling you stupid. I'm not saying that you're doing anything wrong. I'm just saying that, like, if you can't see, you can't see. You know, it's me stating a fact as opposed to me trying to be mean or rude. And a lot of times when I state facts, they piss people off. So it's like, like, I don't mince my words. One of the reasons why a lot of people over my life have kind of drifted away from me is because I show them their reflection. And a lot of people are not willing to see their reflection. I don't put up with the it's like, I don't even really want to deal with surface level stuff ever. And I think it's baffling like some people will be baffled by that statement of not caring about surface level stuff. Well, you must be lying. It's like, if you can't see below, how the hell are you going to know the reasons as to why I don't want to do something? I enjoy diving deep into the depths. I love seeing all the imperfections along the way. This is why it's like I'm really good at kind of like, if someone comes up to me and is like talking about some problem they're having, I'm like, I kind of just start doing the thing where I'm like scouting out their depth to see like, okay, where is the thing that they're like struggling with? And then I'm like, oh, it's right here. Oh, okay, cool. And I try to like mention it to them, but it's like most of the time it's like unwanted because they're not there yet, which is fine. But it's kind of like I can appreciate that imperfection. I can appreciate everything about the way that the canyon is shaped and the type of water that's been filled in and the little sea creatures that are swimming in there, and you know, I can appreciate it all. And that's like my favorite part of like interacting with people is like, okay, sure, you're a lake, got it. Now let's actually get into there and see like what's under the lake's surface, because it could be anything, and that's exciting. It's the unknown. um and so when I start kind of like picking to see like, okay, well, I'm putting my head in the water, okay, I'm looking around, I'm like, all right, I'm getting my diving gear on, I'm like, all right, I'm ready. I dive in, I start like exploring, and they're like, whoa, we're supposed to be on the boat up top, like I didn't want you to do that. And I'm like, oh, sorry, like I never know with these things. um and so a lot of people, when I start doing that to like learn them and to understand them, it's like they get really uncomfortable. And the uncomfortable thing about it is it's like it's me accepting just who they are in that moment. And it's almost like a world shattering thing for a lot of people because they don't even accept themselves. And so there's this incongruent kind of thing happening where I accept them as they are and where they're at. And then they kind of have to reconcile with the fact that I see them as they are. And I'm not like running away from them. I'm not like being an asshole to them. I treat them kindly and I love them regardless. And that's like too much for them because it basically dredges up the fact that, yeah, your narrative that no one's going to accept you, so that's why you have to have the mask on, is wrong. And that kind of can like totally shatter the worldview that that person has. And that's why like it's like instead of shattering the worldview, they would rather remove me from their life so that then they don't have to go and face that, because that is like a moment where it's like I'm kind of, by just existing, I kind of just force people to kind of see themselves, and it's uncomfortable. So that's why it's so hard for me to have people stick around me, because you know there are very few people that are completely okay with every part of themselves. They're out there, but it's like it's hard to really fathom. And the thing is, the people who do fully accept themselves, there's also kind of the level of depth as well, where it's like they may fully accept themselves, but they're a lake, so they can only see as far as the lake goes. And so when slash if they want to like start exploring and understanding me, it's like, okay, well, we kind of have a small issue because I'm way bigger and way deeper. So it's not as easy to just traverse a little patch and be like, well, now I know the person. It's like that doesn't work that way. Um, it's kind of like I have so many fractals of myself that even I don't fully know everything about me. And I've lived with me my whole life. So it's kind of like, how do I expect someone to understand even a tenth of what I understand? And for the people who are also kind of abyss level like existences, um, they're also at different levels of understanding. I ran into someone um, back before uh, the other roommate that I had temporarily in Rome. We hung out once, and I immediately recognized that he is an abyss, but he's an abyss who is still swimming the depths to like he hasn't crawled out of that like black void. Um and so like for an example, like I kind of think of him as someone who like mirrors, obviously not the same, but mirrors me pre-COVID. Um And as such, it's like I understand how hard that part of my life was. So I totally like I feel for him and I totally empathize. And I think back to that part of me. Uh and I'm like nothing that anyone else would have said could like help me during those moments. I was very much like I had to figure it out myself. Um and he's figuring it out himself, and I'm really proud that I got to see that part, and I hope he continues to move forward. And yeah, but you know it's one of those things where it's like sometimes you'll meet someone at the same kind of level of depth, but they're on a different part of their journey, so you can't even really interact with them because maybe they're not at the point where you can interact with them on that deep level without kind of triggering them unintentionally because they're still dealing with stuff. So so yeah. So it's not, for me it's like it's not a surprise that he hasn't reached out. And I was like, it's like, yeah, I wanted to hang out with him more and talk with him more, but it was kind of, I could tell that I don't think he was quite ready for the more in-depth kind of conversations that were going to bring up some really deep stuff. I don't think he was like ready for that. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like, just as I'm going to at some point interact with someone who could be like further along in their path and they think the same about me. I think about, back in my 20s, I'm sure I went across multiple people throughout that part of my life that thought the same as I do now. So, yeah, it's not. It's also just not a race. We figure it out in our own time, but yeah. So, oh my gosh, I was like, oh, it's only been 16 minutes. That's not bad. I'm like, oh, it's an hour and 16 minutes. I've been talking about stuff. Holy crap. I mean, I still have stuff to say, so it's kind of like, fuck. Um, I guess I'm just gonna keep talking until I'm like done with this like train of thought. So I guess getting back to the like being a villain, surface level people, all of that stuff. Which, to be fair, if they're still watching at this point, like I suspect most of them probably clicked off. And only a true hater has gotten to this point. But for those true haters who are like grinding bones, ready to like just like rage at the world, I think one thing I've always kind of thought of is like imagine all taking all of that resentment, anger, frustration, envy. If you take all of that and channel it into like something positive for yourself, like the heights that you could reach by simply redirecting the energy to something more productive. That's kind of like that's what I think the most tragic thing about it all is it's like I can see that there's this passion, but it's a passion grown out of like envy and hatred and frustration and anger. Um, and it's like, yeah, you don't need to be passionate about something you hate. You can channel that passion into something that actually benefits you. And it's just sad to see all that energy kind of go to waste. Because it's not affecting me. So it's like, it really is kind of just going into the ether. It's kind of like there's a fire in your house and you turn on the fire hose with the fire trucks and then start spraying another person's house. It's like the house doesn't need to be sprayed. The house is fine. There's no fire there, but your house is burning. But you're like, I am so focused on drenching this entire house in water. And, it does nothing. It's like, okay, the house is wet for a little bit and then it dries out. Like, and even then, it's just the outer like windows that get wet. Or it's like the brick wall. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, that's not gonna do anything. And so the person inside's like, what is he trying to pressure wash my house? Like, I mean, I guess, but what's he gonna do with his house that's on fire? Like, when's he gonna deal with that? So it's kind of it's pointless. And to be fair, I'm giving them a lot of A fire hose is like a very powerful hose that can douse the fire. The problem is most people don't have a fire hose. Most people have a garden hose and they can't even reach the house. They're just watering the lawn in front of the house. And they like wave it around and they're like, and they're like, they put their thumb on the hose and it sprays out everywhere and it just splatters on their face and like, and it still doesn't reach the house. And it's like, okay, you're watering my lawn, but like, what are you doing, crazy guy? Like, go deal with your own shit. Like, what the hell? So yeah, so that's kind of like, and I'm not trying to belittle people. It's just like I'm trying to like instill the like futility with this course of action. It's like you're not harming me, you're harming yourself, and it's like you're wasting all the potential energy that you could be spending on something else. Why don't you water your own garden with the garden hose? Don't let your plants dry out and die because you're just unwilling to water the garden. Like, if you don't have a garden, why aren't you planting seeds? It doesn't take that much time to plant seeds. You just gotta like do a few little things. So, and this is where it's like I come back to like, I can give all the advice I want, but unless someone's willing to actually like look within and really like open themselves up to the possibility, they're not going to see it and they're just going to dismiss it. So it's kind of a waste of my time. Even this is kind of a waste of my time, like talking about it, but I kind of wanted to bring this up, not necessarily for the haters specifically. Although if someone like changes their attitude, like that would be great, obviously. But like it's more for the people that deal with haters and have them affect them. The kind of key to understanding what's going on is to recognize that they're not actually mad at you. They're mad at themselves. And this is them lashing out almost as like, it's not a cry for help in the traditional sense. It's more of like a child stomping their feet on the ground and yelling at the sky and waving their hands because they're not getting their way. And it's like, like what do you do? What do you do with a kid who's like upset for seemingly like no reason? Like you as the adult see the kid upset and you're like, why are you upset? What's going on? And then the kid's like, that piece of grass is yellow. And you're like, what? Like, why does that even matter? Like, all the other grass is green. Why does that one yellow grass like matter to you so much? And the kid doesn't even know why. The kid's just upset because there's a yellow piece of grass. And it's like, yeah, you can't get mad at the kid for like getting upset at something silly like that. It's like, oh, little guy or girl, whatever, So yeah, so you kind of, and I'm not saying to belittle the person, but it's like just understand where they're coming from, and then it like, it's not that the words hurt less. It's that you realize that the words are not even directed at you. The actions are not even directed at you. And then it's like, oh, well, why should I care about something that it's like they're directing it at themselves. And in a way, it almost is like um, the internal self is like screaming at them through these actions to wake up. And sometimes they do wake up, and sometimes they don't. But this is kind of the only thing that the internal self knows how to do, is to try to help them recognize what's happening. Um, so yeah. So anyway, that's kind of like that's my point. Is I just want to like mention this again because I know that the amount of jealousy is going to be sharply rising over this next, couple months or whatever. And inevitably, it's like I understand. Um, and so it's kind of my job to reaffirm to myself that I am deserving, that I have worked really hard, and that no one can gaslight me into thinking otherwise. Because if I don't believe or accept the narrative, then the narrative can't hurt me. Because who the fuck cares what someone else says? Doesn't matter. I know what's true within me. So because I know what's true, it's really easy for me to see through the illusions. Um, but yeah, so like, I think about this and I think about how like my entire life has been built around kind of sharpening my resistances to negative feedback, to jealousy, to hatred, to frustration, to anger, to all of this stuff. Um, and I have like such a high level of attainment in like completely negating any of this stuff that inevitably, when a lot of this other stuff starts to show up, um, I think there's going to be kind of a pleasant surprise that I don't kind of like buckle under the pressure that shows up, because I've had far more pressure in the past. And so, um, I think about like being compressed into a diamond. And it's like, once you've done that transformation, any other pressure that's lesser than that is nothing, because you've been under far more pressure. Um, so that's kind of like my understanding of like, it's like, yeah. So I don't know. It feels really, I will say, it feels really good to like finally kind of stand up for myself. Like, I know this sounds weird, or it's like, what do you mean? But it's like, I'm just acknowledging my existence in a like more like, I'm not gonna apologize for the fact that I'm just cool. I've done I've done a lot of stuff, so I'm like, yeah, uh it's like embarrassing to even say that. um but yeah, I don't know. Like, it's like, yeah. Yeah, I am cool to be around. Uh and there's like a level of self-esteem that I kind of just haven't had like my whole life. And it's like I'm proud of myself. And you know, um I I do deserve to have a awesome life. Um I'm kind of, I'm giddy and excited for like the just how awesome things are going to be. And you know, in spite of like the back and the neck thing, it's like honestly, like I'm happy that I can just be here. Like, yeah, there are some problems, but like I don't know, they're kind of minor in the grand scale of things, and I get to like, I've been. I didn't tell you guys. I stood almost next to the glass on the elevator with the little railing, and I looked straight down. And I've been like training myself on being able to like look straight down because that's like still kind of hard for me, especially if it's ascending or descending or like just really high. And so it's like, yeah, I'm fucking badass for like fighting my fear head on. Like it's like it's like damn. Like it feels good to just be like, I don't know, like, you know what? I got something to show you guys. Give me, I'm gonna pause real quick. This is just for you guys. I'll be back 1 second. Okay. Here, I'm gonna show you guys my progress. All right, I did it. Hold on, let me. Hello, come down here. Come on. All right, sorry, camera's a little fucked. I just wanted to show you guys I could go outside. Yeah, I was hugging the edge of the glass, but I got outside. I stood there, both feet on the outside. I even looked out briefly. So I'm like, I'm working on it. I want to, in the next like couple days, I want to just sit out there for like a little bit and do a vlog while I'm just sitting out there. I think that would be like, that'd be really cool because that would give me another level of like, if I feel comfortable enough to sit down out there and then talk to you guys while being outside like that, it's like yeah, like so yeah, so I feel like really, I feel really proud of myself. Like I've been doing a lot of these like things, like, facing my fear with that. Um finally cooking eggs after, oh my gosh, I think the last time I cooked eggs on the stove, because I did eggs in the microwave for a long time. Again, it's like I didn't realize the subconscious thing that it was like, oh, even though I knew a way better way of cooking eggs, I did it in the microwave instead. Because it was almost like I wasn't deserving of the better eggs. um, which again is like a weird little thing. But and also it's like incredibly easy to like clean the pans after. So it's like it's an even stupider reason to like not cook food. Um, so yeah, but I'm glad that I faced my fear, which I don't think it was well. Okay, the stuff outside is like a fear thing, but I don't think the cooking is a fear thing. I think it's more of like a mental block that was like I had self imposed because it's like I don't know if I deserve to do my own cooking in a weird way. I don't know. Um, but yeah, so and I will say those eggs were some of the best eggs I've made in a long time. I mean, obviously, but like they're some of the best eggs I've just eaten in a long time. Um, and I still haven't done the potatoes yet, but I will. Um, anyway, I don't have too much else to say, but yeah, I just, it's another one of those things where it's like, I wish I could like do more to help, but it's like, I just know I can't because any more would be kind of like me interfering with the learning opportunities. So anyway, I'm gonna go. Um, yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Uh, I'm gonna, I am gonna try the sofa thing. So we'll see how that turns out. If I can, if I do it and it immediately is like not good, I am going to like not do it. But I'm gonna try it. So we'll see. But all right, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.